Well, I'll bet if there are any Martians, they speak the universal language. Do-re-mi. You don't know that reference, do you?
No idea what you're talking about.
I don't know how you've lived without watching Amazon Women on the Moon.
I've seen it, just not in a long, long time.
Well,
I remember really liking the part with
Arsenio Hall.
Yep.
I knew
We've
you.
talked about that. We may even have talked about that on a podcast.
Pretty sure. All right, kids. It's episode 205 of the Mean Geek.
Wow,
Comics podcasting on the edge of civility. We're out here on a wonderful late spring evening, just hanging out on the deck, smoking cigars, drinking chocolate double box, and talking about fucking comic books, man. What's going on, Rev?
Not much. Any exciting nerd purchases in your past?
Well, do you count the entirety of Free Comic Book Day and or seeing Avengers?
Well, I'm going to have to talk about them either way, so sure.
Yeah, well, so, Free Comic Book Day was a wonderful fiasco. We convoyed
How many kids did you
10
take?
kids, 3 adults.
So, that's $10 a pop for you.
Yeah, I spent $150. Well, I didn't pay anything for my sister or my brother-in-law.
But the 10
But I gave
kids,
the
you
kids $10 each, and they got a bunch of stuff. You know, the younger girls, they were more interested in toys, so whatever.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
everybody got their free comics, and I'm sure they enjoyed them. They haven't gotten back to me yet because they're kids. They don't do that.
Did any of them buy anything particularly comic related?
My nephew John has bought some Robins and Nightwings because apparently that's his guy now, which is fine. You know.
You could do worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good because he's easy to find, so we can get him some nice back usage. He's cheap.
Right.
He sticks with it.
Sarge's was wow. There was
Packed?
packed to the gills.
Because it was pretty lame last year.
Seen that many motherfuckers in there.
When I went, last year we went together. Year before I went and you went separately.
Yeah.
And we ran into each other because our
Right.
lives are that sad. And neither of those times was like crazy busy.
No, this year was nutsy. And I'm fine with that. Although they did kind of gyp me on their promise. They said that, for every 10 you'd get an extra pack of, Free Comic Book Day comics. And I only got 6 for I should have gotten 14. I can see where they're coming from, though. But
So basically you got one of everything that they had.
yeah, pretty much.
Have you gone through any of it yet?
They didn't get a wide variety, though. There was stuff I saw in articles. I was like, them motherfuckers didn't have that shit.
You get your Atomic Robo?
No.
Mouse Guard?
No.
You get a Peanuts for me?
No.
Okay, I'm very disappointed with this conversation so far.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I didn't. You can have it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't read it, but I only got one.
Oh, keep it. I'm not trying to take it from you. I'm trying to think of things. The thing with Free Comic Book Days, it's usually pretty lame. Like, they're like filler advertisements. But the Tick usually does an independent story, which is
right.
Great. Mouse
right.
Guard usually does an independent story. Atomic Robo usually does an independent story.
And I found out last year, I was going through a bunch of stuff, and I was eBaying, and I ran across last year's Hip Hop Family Tree. And motherfuckers were slabbing that thing for over $100.
I find that hard to believe.
A lot of people like Ed Piskor, and I actually read it, and it was, from someone who, I can't say I came from early hip hop.
You were into it very
but
early.
I was there at the end of the beginning, so to speak. Around
the end of the dawn.
Pretty much. It was mid-morning, let's say. And I knew everyone he was talking about, and I learned a lot of things about, like, Grandmaster Flash and a bunch of those
Big
other
Daddy Kane?
earlier than that.
Really?
Yeah, this is like 79
So
to
Furious
83.
5 and
Yeah.
Sugar Hill?
Yep, exactly. So I made sure that I was very, 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 very careful with this year's Hip Hop Family Tree. Because I'm going to get some money up in this motherfucker.
Hey, dare to dream.
I found in the half price bin, I found a Marvel Visionaries Frank Miller Volume 2.
That's the only one I have in graphic.
So I got it for $12.
That's a nice deal.
And that's got like 18 fucking issues in it.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn.
The only problem with that is when you're reading that, you're like, I have to go get the other 2 of these right now. It's easy to forget now that he's a completely insane freak how good he was.
It's true, man. It's true. And you were working, so you didn't do anything for Free Comic Book Day.
No, I actually was off. I had the entire weekend off.
Oh, that's right. You just had things to accomplish.
No, not even that. It was
personal things.
Yes, my niece had her first communion, so I had to prioritize actually being able to attend a family event, which was commented on. They're like, "Oh, I'm surprised to see you here at a family." And it's like, well, I get days off occasionally. I did not tell anybody. Like, I may have requested this day off for entirely different reasons 4 months ago.
Best that nobody we know listens to this shit. And then I took them all to Avengers.
Yes,
and it only cost me $5 a pop. I was so happy with that. It only cost me $45 to get all those people in there.
Nice.
Very happy with that.
Wait, 45? That doesn't make sense.
5
Did some of them not go?
9 of them.
Well, there were 10 a minute ago.
She was an adult, so she.
Okay.
The last one was overpriced. She took care of herself because she's an adult.
Not fair enough.
She is a niece, but she's significantly older than the others.
You didn't jip her on the 10, though, right?
No, not at all.
What'd she get?
She got a bunch of gothy, emo-y shit because she's a gothy, emo-y chick.
I may have some Johnny the Homicidal Maniacs I can throw you for.
You know, I will bet she'll dig those.
I might even have the graphic to that.
Ugh.
I own some weird things.
Dan raved about that shit. I was like, really?
I thought it was funny, but either I've grown up, which doesn't seem likely, or it's aged poorly, or the connection is no longer there.
Or it could be both, really.
All
right, so now that that's out of the way.
So, Avengers.
Yes, holy shit balls.
So you were not in the disappointed in it minority.
No! I don't know what these people were talking about with it being bad. And there's Whedon has taken a lot of flack for 2 points in it. And I'm just like, I can't agree with you on this.
I know one of them.
By the time this comes out, if anybody hasn't seen it, it's their damn fault. So
we're a spoiler podcast. It's written all over it. Well, I mean, we can be vague. It doesn't affect anything in the slightest. The Black Widow being infertile was the big one I heard of. What was the other point?
Well, it was a very early joke. It was about Tony Stark reinstituting Prima Nocta.
Oh, okay. I thought that was funny.
So people were calling that a rape joke. And in a literal sense, in the strictest interpretation, yes, that's completely true.
You know, it was
Tony
joke.
Stark making light of rape? I don't fucking think so.
No, that's people too much time on their hands. I did have, because the whole Joss Whedon thing has been a big deal and whatnot, blah blah blah. Because I think the issue is not so much because I thought it made sense from a character standpoint. They eliminate this. I'm like, all right, I can see insane Russian people that create child super spy assassins.
Sure, that kind of crazy shit happens all the time.
That didn't blow my mind
in fiction.
But
in fiction,
as I followed the fervor over it to the smallest possible degree,
yeah,
the fact that she referred to herself as a monster, I think, is the larger problem for people. But the thing is, my interpretation of that was she thinks of herself as a monster because she's like an insane assassin, super killer, infertile chick, not because she's an infertile chick.
Right. That's. I think that they were not getting the bigger picture on it.
Well,
whereas, a monster would make that kind of decision to sterilize themselves to make themselves a better killer.
Well, let's be fair here. The current storyline is all about being a monster. So if you're not reading it, though, I can see the interpretation.
Yeah.
So I can't disagree with it, but I didn't personally.
Definitely has a low self-respect. Well, no, that's probably not the right word. It's definitely not self-image either. There are a lot of things she really hates having done. Let's phrase it like that. What the hell is wrong with your hands, boy?
Oh, tar from the scars coming out the back. Yeah, I chose poorly. No, so it was very well done. I like the Hawkeye stuff. I was surprised that they brought the Ultimates Hawkeye.
You know, I read so little Ultimates that I don't know anything about Hawkeye and Ultimates.
Married with Kids.
So, oh, okay. Well,
that was unexpected.
I'm just glad they didn't bring in Ultimate Cap, because him banging Janet Van Dyne while she's married is not my Captain America.
Well, I think they have, really. I think, you know, if you look at the movie as a whole, it's all kind of based on the Ultimates more so than anything else.
Yeah, but they're keeping Cap. They're not...
True, but...
Cap swears, he's an asshole, he's super violent, he's brutal. That's, you know, that wasn't it in the movies.
No, it's a much lighter version. It's sort of a perfect pairing of the two. They did, however, really...
You know,
Hawkeye's personality really... What did you think about the Black Widow Hulk romance?
That was different, and I'm actually glad they went that way, because so many people are shipping everybody but him. You know the shipping routine? You know, shipping is a fan fiction term where you have characters who probably wouldn't get into romantic situations.
Right.
So people were calling, and this is the dumbest thing ever. They got combinations like Clintasha, like Natodgers, just stupid mix-ups like that. But nobody was doing Hulk. So I'm like, Whedon took your head cannon and said, no, I got my own motherfucking cannon for you.
Blulk.
Ew. That just sounds nasty, dude.
So
what are you talking about?
Fan fiction and, you know, shipping. So I feel like I'm fine. Blulk it is.
Some of the effects early on were like, really, fellas? Did you rush that?
I didn't catch that as much, but...
It only happened like 2-3 times. Like,
I had read that the Hulk didn't look that good. I didn't have a problem with that for the most part. But, you know, I'm fairly mellow about those kind of things. Unless it's truly awful, it's not going to stick. It looked better than Alan Davis drawing him. But, yeah, Joss Whedon has been attacked on Twitter enough to quit Twitter.
Yeah, that's a bit excessive.
Well, I read an article online, and they're like, if you're a celebrity, why would you even be on Twitter? Like, what you gain is so...
Building brand.
Yeah, but Joss Whedon doesn't need to build a brand.
He really doesn't.
We need to build a brand. Like, he should be fine. Like, he has everything to lose and nothing to gain, was the way it was read.
What can I do with this?
I used a cap.
Oh, good idea. I'm just going to put out my cigar, kids. I'll be right with you.
Oh, no, I thought it was a pretty solid film. I enjoyed the heck out of it. They made Quicksilver enjoyable now in 2 separate films with 2 separate Quicksilvers.
Yeah, that's got to irk you something fierce.
You know what? They did it very well. I thought that they really nailed the characters. And you know what was interesting is...
Spoil the shit out of that, baby.
No. That's a big one, so I'm going to leave that alone.
Although perceptive people can already guess.
Well, I love the fact that they built up, you know, Hawkeye's death to be this huge, epic thing. And, like, you know, anyone who's ever watched an action movie was expecting that dude to die 7 ways of Sunday the way they were shooting that. The Olsen sister is a pretty good actress.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. She knows how to play a superhero, man. She's right on.
Yeah, she did quite well. I'm not necessarily loving the Avengers team that was left at the end.
Well, you know, we'll see what they can do with that.
Look, if that were a comic book, you'd be like, not buying that.
Yeah, that's Mighty Avengers, right?
Yeah, nope. Color me out, sir.
Yeah, well, you only got to suffer through it for 2 hours, so... No, but, you know, everybody knows Hulk was gone after the 2nd issue anyway, so...
True, but, you know, do you really believe that none of these guys will be back in the next movie?
Probably not Hulk, I don't think.
I am anticipating everybody. The
Thor
movie's called Civil War.
Make an appearance. No, that's the next Cat movie. The next Avengers movies, plural, are
Yes.
the Infinity Wars 1 and 2.
Yeah, still not buying the complete lack of all of those guys. But all in all, pretty enjoyable. We'll see it again. We'll probably pick it up.
Oh, sure. I'm fuck yeah, I'm buying it.
Well, you don't buy them anymore. You like download them to your computer forever through some magical purchasing method.
That's purchasing now, man.
Yeah,
Amazon
world is weird.
Amazon lets me watch it on anything I got, and I don't have to get recharged over and over again. And they're not going anywhere like Netflix streaming, you know.
Oh, they disappear.
Those are permanent licenses.
Yep.
So
Now,
and they don't take up fucking space in my house anymore. So yeah.
yeah, any other news? Anything?
I haven't found anything else interesting to talk about this week, and that should be enough. I guess we should get in on some DCs eventually, huh?
Yeah, the longer I can avoid it, the better I feel.
Why don't we start with some Supermans, huh?
Oh, fine. Oh, this was movie cover month.
Yeah, but we got 39 ahead of that.
Because everything ships badly.
Yeah, these days, man, you don't know when the shit's gonna ship anymore. When the shit gonna ship. I'm gonna tell you that shit, man. What? What you talking about?
When shipping equals shipping.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
I never have.
So, 39 is, I don't know, man. We spend the opening pages having Clark explain himself and his temporary powerless state to Jimmy. Like, Jimmy needs to know. And he endures various injuries the whole time. And there's a hostage situation down the street. And Clark is like, well, powers or not, I gotta handle this shit. This is my town.
Issue.
And he talks his way out of it. And I'm like, bang on Supes.
The moment where he looks at Jimmy, he's like, did you think I just stepped in front of guns because I'm bulletproof? And Jimmy, and to a lesser degree, I were like, well, yeah.
It's a very good scene. I enjoyed that immensely. And at the end, we get this mystery character that sends Clark a blank notebook. What could that be for?
Who cares? Like, that, for God's sake. Like, here's your ominous threat, a notebook with the Superman logo on it.
I don't know how that works.
You have to enjoy a moment where Jimmy Olsen... First off, like, you have to like the fact that since Lois is out of the picture from the relationship standpoint,
Yeah?
Clark still needs to reveal himself to somebody.
Oh, sure.
Which makes no sense considering, like, they're rebuilding the friend level of all the Justice League. Like, they're all buddies and hanging out, so he doesn't. But, you know, if he does, at work somehow have to give it away to somebody, it's his best bud.
It's
Jimmy.
going to be Jimmy, sure.
And you got to enjoy Jimmy going, like, no, Clark, you do look a lot more like him than I thought you would, but hey, you know, your glasses change you that much. And he's like, they changed the shape of my eyes, and the color is dimmed.
If that's your explanation, I'll have to go with it, but whatevs.
I always like it when people take the time to kind of figure things out, though, and be like, oh,
No, that's helpful. I do appreciate that, you know.
haven't you ever wondered why we don't appear in the room at the same time?
Well,
You have like 4,000 times. Oh, those are super robots. I'm sorry, what?
This ain't the Silver Age anymore, Bubba.
You don't see any super robots anymore.
No, and thank fuck for that. I don't need super robots. I got a super motherfucking man.
But here you have super fly.
Yes, on the cover of 40 is Superfly. Oh, I couldn't even make up a rhyme for that. Fuck. It's the homage cover to Superfly with Superman. Never a dude like this one. He's an alien from Krypton, man.
That is
and this
amazing.
is where JR takes over his own writing and drawing.
And I loved it.
And I did enjoy it a lot. I don't remember the last time I saw JR write anything.
I can't honestly recall anything in particular.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very important thing in our JR fandom to have this issue available to us.
But Superman has a beard, goes badly. The
Yes, that did amuse me.
the testing his powers was awesome. Batman complaining nonstop was hysterical. Like, that may be my favorite Batman ever. Please put a towel on before you sit down. Do not sit down before you get dressed again.
It was a lot of fun. The media was enthralled with everybody. I can see, however, very soon somebody complaining about Clark drinking. And I remember a while ago, when in the Grounded storyline by JMS, a couple of people were like, why is Clark having a beer? It was because he was born in he grew up, he was raised in the fucking Midwest. If you're not drinking beer, what the fuck are you drinking?
Well, I think they handled that very well, where he had one, he got a little tipsy, and he had a very bad experience with it.
Yes.
And he even makes a point of saying, never again. So, JR shows a surprisingly, steady hand in terms of doing little fun things and controlling them.
Yeah, I was very happy with it. It appealed to me. I'm so glad Superman is a good book now.
It is always good to see Superman not suck.
Too true. So we got to move on to how shall I call this? A throwback to Green Lantern with number 40, because there's no way I could pass up a 2001 riff on the cover, because that's just, my God, Hal, it's full of stars. It just fits so well.
It was very well done. And the issue was not bad. For a moment, I was like, I don't remember this. And I'm like, oh, that's because I have not been reading. But it was quite good.
There's Hal decides he needs to take this very, very interesting weapon from Evidence, and Kilowog catches him. He's like, dude, I don't know what you're going to do. They have a flashback where they talk about the rights and wrongs of the Corps, the Guardians' failings, and Hal offers to leave the Corps as a sacrifice to the Corps' public relations. That's exactly what... Is that not accurate?
No, that is accurate.
They stage a fight, and very convincingly, Kilowog takes a beating until Salak shows up, and Hal escapes.
Well, Kilowog's whole point was, first off, I'm still a Green Lantern, and you're my best friend, and you're taking this untested super weapon. Like, you don't leave the room unless I believe you can use it.
Right.
So, you either kick my ass or I am going to beat the ever-loving Hal out of you.
And also, if you fuck this up, I don't want to look complacent with it. Complicit with it.
No, I think, honestly, I don't think he cared about that in the slightest. Although, normally, that would totally be the read. I think he was very much being like, look, this is a crazy, deadly weapon, and I am the trainer, and you are, even though you've been my boss, you are still my student, and I will thump your ruby red ass if you don't.
All right, I can see where you're coming with that. That makes just as much sense. I'm not convinced, however, and God, I hope it ain't true, but I'm not convinced about whether Kilowog is dead or not.
I don't think so.
I'm leaning toward no, but man, those last few panels are they are awful graphic.
No, they made it look very bad. You had to love the moment where Sonic's like, well, this can't be right. And one of the other agents is like, well, why don't we ask Kilowog if he's still breathing or not? Your Hal worship and all is lovely, but he just beat the ever-loving tar out of that dude, so maybe ill-placed.
Yeah, but overall a decent issue. And actually it was timed rather well, because just randomly picking up a year or so after we gave it up, that could have been a story reading disaster.
Yeah, it was not confusing. It was easy to follow, and it was intriguing. Didn't you consider picking up the next one based on that?
A little bit.
Yeah, which is what you want. The single issue market requires a certain level of see what happens next.
Yeah.
Now that we live in the graphic 6-issue book world, there's always going to be convoluted storytelling, and I've bitched and moaned about that far more than anyone needs to hear me do again. But you do kind of require every now and then having an issue. Do you remember back in the day, you used to be like, great jumping on part, point, start of new arc.
Right.
But that doesn't actually help you unless...
A lot of times it really doesn't.
But
because they never start from scratch. There's a lull before things get stupid again, and somebody is always talking about the story that went before.
It's the cool thing about that is that in this case, there's a whole bunch of convoluted crap, which is why he's taking this that we're not following. Mm-hmm. But you could totally see grabbing the next one based on this issue, and you need that kind of thing, particularly when you have this cool movie cover thing, which is going to get people
right. Right. These had to be, most of these had to be a little more standalone than normal, even though Detective wasn't.
Well, it couldn't be. I mean, the other part of these is that most of them are ending storylines or coming near the end of storylines before Convergence throws the baby out with the bathwater anyway.
I don't even know what's happening. I read Zero, and I don't know what the fuck was happening in that book. So I put 1 through 4 aside, and we'll get to them when it's all done. We'll read them as one unit, see what shakes loose. And Christ, I hope it... I hope it's fucking good, man. But on Twitter, I heard some shit today. It was like, I read Convergence 5 4 times today, and I still don't fucking get it. That's not a ringing endorsement, man. You should never have to read it more than twice to follow it. Now, there might be subtleties you miss that you can get a third or fourth time.
No, you know
what? But to follow the story in general, you should be able to read it twice tops.
There's occasionally going to be an issue where you got to revisit. Like, I understand. We live in a more intellectual age for comics. That's fine. I've read Grant Morrison, Animal Man, and some of those you're like, okay, let me just dive back into that. The Invisibles. Like, some things are going to require really studying it from other angles. Notice both of those were Grant Morrison books, but the theory holds true. But yeah, at the same time, like with a superhero book, you kind of want to just be able to pick up a comic on a rack if you can find one.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that you can find DCs on racks still.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them in Stop and Shop.
Yep.
I've seen them in drugstores. They're still out there. Not many of them, to be sure, but whatever. So, yeah, that was a thoroughly enjoyable read.
Yep.
Detective 40 continues on with this whole Tetch Anarky thing, where Anarky and his guys are, hey, they're beating the shit out of Tetch, while Bruce tends to Bullock's wounds and has Alfred analyze the mask Tetch dropped or some shit, or threw away, or puked in, or whatever the fuck. I don't know what happened with that mask. I don't know how they got it. But, Bruce intervenes on the beating, but he's pretty much overpowered, which, he's been through a lot the last couple of issues, so it's not shocking. Alfred directs Bullock to the transmitter that the mask is using for Anarky to control all his dudes. Okay, he finds that.
Nice and convoluted.
It's Tetch's own hat, because Miracle of Miracles, what else would it be?
Well, I mean, if you want to look into mind control, you start with Tetch.
But Bullock uses it to break the hold, and Anarky does the whole villain explains things thing. Man, okay.
Anarky sister was the original Alice, who was tortured by Tetch and hates him, so that the mask is based on her. Like, they took the promising start to Anarky that they had and just ruined it by making him a flavor of the month villain.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I hate Anarky, so I'm kind of fine with it. Like, dude, I don't need a world where top 10 Batman villains involves Anarky. Like, no. No. I don't need Tweedledee and Tweedledum supplanted by him. But they show somebody else leaving the hospital and being handed... Yeah, I'm totally ignoring that. And it should have been Trigger Twins. They show what appears to be an Anarky mask being handed to somebody on the way out of the hospital, so perhaps it will be an ever-changing person.
Like the Scourge of the Underworld. I reread up on him last week.
Oh, yeah, because you bought a couple.
Yeah.
And you were like, this doesn't make as much sense as I remember without all the big issues around it. What the hell is happening here?
Well, I better bone up on that shit. Because I ain't read much, I've read 3 or 4 of them since they were on the racks. Yep. So it's all working from shoddy, alcohol-soaked memory. So I don't know what was going on in there. At any rate, that's what happened in Detective.
It's true.
And it didn't blow my doors off. The art was great, but it seemed, Penny One pulling Overwatch on everything and guiding everybody. It feels like a video game these days, because there's such a trend in those of you got to have somebody going, oh, you've got to get to the reactor before it melts down, and now that you're in the reactor, make sure you get to the control room. Go over here and go over there.
It is dumbed down a little bit, but you've been waiting for a mystery. You got one. And all you can do is complain. Like, it was, considering how strong the start was, it was a little disappointing and formulaic of an ending.
Well, no,
but,
I'm talking about the general trend. I'm not talking about this story.
But in terms of this issue, like, figuring out that Anarky had a previous relationship with Tetch based on his sister and the mask being...
No,
like,
that was good.
So,
that was
you
fine.
finally had detectiving and detective. So let's focus on that. Detective is still on a huge upswing. Yeah, like, the Anarky ending was anticlimactic. Like, and... By the way, if you have one huge crowd attacking Batman storyline in Batman, maybe don't have one in Detective. Like, maybe we don't need...
You know, that's a good point.
You know, the slightest bit of editing. Like, hey, maybe he could just, you know, fight a bank robber till we're done with this one.
I'm convinced the editorial leaders just don't talk to each other.
Or care.
Well,
Like,
they're probably not.
because it could easily be the same editor on both back books, but...
True.
You know, you want
we don't
to
look at
you want to
editors.
give your
Who the
writers
fuck
leeway
cares
and
about
stuff,
editors?
and I have no problem with that whatsoever. Like, I want them to expand and build forward from that. But yeah, it shouldn't have two mind-controlled crowds simultaneously.
No, that was not good thinking. Anyway, what is good thinking? Aha!
Dude, your segues are still horrible.
What is so bad about that? It fits.
Oh yeah, it fit. All right.
Whatever the fuck. Sinestro 11. So, this cover, I adore the Westworld cover.
Yes, this was.
I don't even like that movie, but I love this poster, and I love this riff on it.
You don't like Westworld? What's wrong with you?
Well, you know, I got forced to watch it in high school in, quote, science fiction class, and we've been through that, so fuck a duck with...
Richard Benjamin as a sci-fi action hero, and you have a problem with that?
I don't even remember what else Richard Benjamin might have done.
Saturday the 14th.
Aha!
And he wasn't really the hero. He died. He was the hero's, you know, plucky sidekick comedy relief.
Terrible. So what happens here is...
I think it was James Brolin was the hero.
Maybe.
That man had an excellent beard.
All I know is that the Yul Brenner robot actually is a punchline in a fucking Dennis Miller routine. So anyway, the fight at Warworld with Mongol is continuing on as Sinestro notes to his jailer that Mongol is he really all that different from the Paling? Which is, I don't know if that's a good name or not, the Paling.
It sounds creepy.
Yeah, there's that much. The tide turns as the yellow rings get drained out and the core is pretty much becoming helpless.
And then starts getting slaughtered.
Annihilated is a really good way to put this. A covert force, however, composed of Saranic and the horny one break Sinestro loose, though. I don't remember his fucking name, but he's creepy and he always wants to bang, and that's just nasty. So, whatever. Sinestro turns it around by having Bekka reverse the yellow ring drain. Although I don't know how she did that.
Yeah, no, the science of this is just ridiculous. You have to accept that and move on. It's on par with Westworld.
No, I mean, I don't think they even explained it at all. It's just like, oh, she's here. She's reversed it.
Yeah,
boom.
no.
It's inherent in her fucking physiology that she can reverse yellow ring drains. And if they'd even said that much, that would have been silly, but I'd have had to accept it. But they didn't even bother.
They didn't have to. It was good, man. And Sinestro,
No, it was great.
Sinestro toppling Mongol is what you want.
Yes. I'm so down with that. Unfortunately, I'm not down with Batgirl 40.
No?
I was disappointed by that, man. I thought I was going to get an explanation of why Babs was going all bubble-headed, and instead I got Nomad from Star Trek.
I don't know what that means.
Nomad from Star Trek was the original computer that blows its top when you present it with a logic problem.
Okay, the computer. Let's fool it by giving it a riddle
Yes,
that a 4-year-old will be like, "No, I'm not
exactly.
doing that."
Yes, that's what I got instead of a doppelganger, instead of a clone, instead of somebody. Look, dude, this is not Gene Roddenberry. You can think up something more interesting, and not that a clone is more interesting, but it would explain more than, oh, her code got stolen because she is the code.
You know what? I didn't have as big a problem with this. Again, it was anticlimactic. It wasn't, the awesome ending. But this hasn't been an awesome book. It's been building forward. And Batgirl, you have to accept something for this to work for you, which is that this is not going to be your original Barbara Gordon. They've changed the character.
Yeah, but I
She's
want her
lighter.
to be competent.
And she is.
You can be light and be competent.
She's a 16-year-old to 18-year-old, to 22-year-old girl, depending on where she is in college. It's kind of unclear for me. But she is competent. She is, however, she just got her legs back. She's readjusting. She's, going off to school. She's living in Burnside, the stupidest suburb of all time.
It's not a suburb. It's Brooklyn.
Whatever it is. It's up there with Blood Gulch or wherever friggin' Nightwing lives. But what I like about it is that they've taken the tack of Star Trek the movie. They didn't do it as well, of like, we're going to recreate this, but we're also going to give you a reason as to why we were doing that, which keeps it canon. Most people aren't even bothering to do that. And for them to do that, even as mediocrely as they did, is impressive. And it closes everything out nicely. She has a solid cast of characters just in time for everything to be thrown out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Woohoo! Well done.
All right, in that light, I will grant you that concession, and I won't be so iffy about it.
I think,
no, it's a better way to look at it.
It is. But at the same time, do I think this is an amazing book? No. But as a result of how this book has evolved, these are not leaving your collection anytime soon.
No.
And the first couple, you weren't convinced of that?
No, not at all. I really wasn't. So we got and I know there was no way around getting this cover. Catwoman 40 with the bullet riff.
Yeah, this is all
This
me.
thing's amazing. I got my own copy, baby.
That boggles my mind.
Good shit, man.
Well, the cover is.
Yeah. I can make a concession here and there. I don't mind.
It is a gorgeous cover. The book was not terrible. I don't even want to talk about it because I didn't understand it. This was the opposite of what we were talking about in Green Lantern. This was so convoluted.
Yeah, we missed so much. Suddenly she's a crime lord, which may or may not be a front.
And she might be... the Black Mask is teamed up with another character who appears to be dressing up as Catwoman.
Yeah. And then we have, the Falcone's return. So there's a lot of stuff that this one didn't help us out on. So, it was readable enough. It wasn't terrible by any stretch, but there's so much missed in our collecting and reading of it that it didn't really help us beyond the ooh factor.
No, I liked the noir style to the art, although it was hard to tell characters apart.
Yeah, it was.
But I didn't know any of the characters. I knew who Seleina, Black Mask, and the Penguin were.
That's about
that was it.
Really. I mean, I don't even know if we knew any of the other characters. So yeah, all right. So that's as far as we can go.
Yeah,
with that one.
can't. I don't want to shortchange it, but I can't talk about it because it was just
Right.
I have no clue. This is the pinnacle of buying something out of the dollar box and being like, what?
You want to turn on the light? Does that light actually work?
What light?
That light right there.
Not to my knowledge.
The one in your house that you just didn't know you had? The hell is wrong with you? This is my house, motherfucker. I had a light.
Really? That seems out of character to you somehow?
No, not really.
Well then, bah humbug.
Fine. Continuing on with the number 40s.
Give your synopsis. I'll see if I can find this mythical light.
All right. Well, it's right there. You got eyes on it, motherfucker. See? Just find a switch up in this bitch.
Switch, bitch?
Pretty much.
It's a book by Roald Dahl.
Is it really?
Yes.
Of course it is. So this is number 40, and this is the 300 Tonight We Dine in Themyscira cover, which is actually pretty goddamn cool. And my housemate mistook for a zombie Wonder Woman because she didn't read the title or whatever, some shit like that. Anyway, Donna and Darinoe, it's not Darino, it's Greek, so it's Darinoe, issue a final challenge to Diana, and Cyborg has narrowed down the location of the zombie insect thing's leader down in the tunnels where they were a little while ago. He reveals that it's Diana's exile of the firstborn that woke them up, which is pretty neat because there's got to be consequences to things like that. You throw a giant demigod down a fucking limitless abyss, and he's going to do something. Something's going to happen. You know? Whatever. I don't
Serial
care.
killer bug people is not the first thought that you have, but...
No. So, while they're dealing with that, Donna launches a surprise attack, slaughtering the men of Themyscira. Holy shit.
Was that Diana, or was that...
Donna.
Donna. Okay, I thought you said Diana. I apologize.
You apologize. Ooh,
It's a rare day.
So
Reveling.
formal. Apologize.
Finish
Right.
your damn beer.
I'm on the way. So, what did you think of all that?
I loved it. I thought that, again, the Finches are really starting to get a good take on the character.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the
I think
balance
so.
between, Diana, the woman hero, the hero, and not the woman hero, the woman, the hero, and the warrior.
Yes.
Is very challenging. Like, there's, people have always had separate takes to begin with.
Right?
But I thought they did a really good job of her interacting with the Justice League people. I thought they did a really good job of her being on the island, being like, you people fucking suck. Like, you Amazons are bitches.
They really
And I'm
are
not
this
saying
time
that
around.
like a feminine, like, they're always making her do shit she doesn't want to do.
And they're always angry.
They're always complaining. It's like, you're not respectful enough. You're not supporting us enough. You're not doing this. Like,
I'm doing my job, motherfucker.
I'm protecting the entire world. It's not like if these space monsters come down, they're not going to not eat your friggin' Amazon ass. No. No. Anyway.
Just lost 3 listeners. So
I think they're doing a great job. And I love the Donna Troy thing. Like, the origin was awesome. And this, more Diana than Diana character. And you have to enjoy the moment where Diana looks at the other Amazon. I can't say the Greek names. I don't even bother trying to remember them because I'm not going to say them anyway.
well, they don't say them often enough anyway, so you're never sure who you're really looking at any given moment.
But when when she's talking to her, and she's like, "Wait, they're lauding her for being made of clay when they booed me."
Yeah, that's a
Exact
rather good
same
point.
thing. I love that because it's well thought out. So, I had my doubts about the Finch writing at the beginning, but I think it's really been very strong.
Yeah. I don't know if she's gotten some help. I would like to think that...
Well, I thought David did a solid job when he was writing Dark Knight for the short period that book existed.
Who? Oh, David Finch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, not Peter David.
Yeah, that screwed me up.
There's
I
more
wouldn't...
than one David in the world.
No, I don't know. It could have been a surname. It could have been...
Okay.
Whatever.
No. Humbug.
So
Merry
no,
Christmas.
it was actually quite an enjoyable issue because I'm glad that there were consequences. You see supervillains and big bads and stuff thrown down pits and shit all the fucking time. But if they're really worth their salt, is that what's going to kill them?
Well, it also opens up, am I responsible for the death of these 1,000 Midwestern townies because I threw God into a bucket of shit and he made friggin' dung beetle cannibal people?
Well, guess what? This time you really are.
At the very least, you get a distinct no. You did not do this well.
What else they didn't
Shady
do well?
lady.
Aha. How did that not work? That works well.
You really, your only segue at this point is to be like, you know what else they did well? You know what else they didn't do well? You know what else has mice in it? No, and no.
Well, you do the motherfucking segue.
No, man, you're the introduction. I'm the comic relief. Like, we have established roles, bitch.
Oh, fuck
One of us
that.
drives and one of us drinks. Like, it's an established relationship.
Oh. Yes, sir, boss.
No. No.
Oh, my God. So, Batman 40. Oh, my fuck. All right, listen. This issue pissed me off.
Really?
Yes. He had no time to do any of the shit he was saying he was doing. In between panels, they're missing cues that they reference in dialogue, that there's no art that matches it. It's all over, and it was terrible. There's bad science. There's no internal consistency to the issue itself. There really isn't. And he had no time to poison that batarang. When the fuck was he doing that?
Dude, he always carries a poison batarang.
He not so specifically. He might have like a curare rang.
I'm just saying, the man has a prep system that is so beyond ours.
He didn't have the stuff to prep until this issue. And he was fighting this whole time. He couldn't have done it.
Well, remember, it wasn't him fighting. It was Nightwing.
Eat my ass.
Not happening.
There was no time for the mask. When did he hand out all these super specialized masks?
When he gathered them all together.
Uh-huh.
You're assuming... I get what you're saying.
I'm reading the last issue.
The issue is convoluted and ridiculous. There's no denying that. But what you're forgetting, and I can't believe that I'm the one who has to say this, is he's Batman. He was prepared for some of the... Like, yes, when Joker said, the last thing you're going to hear is the laughter of Gotham, he figured there would be a noise thing, so he made preparations. That's entirely in character and logical.
But when?
Before he gathered the villains and the heroes together in the first place.
But he was
right
in the middle of
Joker's
fights with that.
He was always fighting, but he's also always planning. Plus, the man doesn't do any prep work himself. He literally calls Alfred. He's like, Alfred, you're going to have to do this. Oh, and also prep the Batmobile to have laser wings. Sir, what's a laser? Alfred? Laser wings. And then Alfred has to go and fucking Google laser wing. Like, great, they don't even exist. Like, top scientists working on laser wings.
And then he has to engineer the shit right then.
Yeah. So it's not like Batman's preparing, but that's entirely in character. Now, the poisoning the Batarang thing, maybe not. But at the same time, all he has to do is like drop one in a pit and pull it back up. Like, he was right there. It's like, what might come in handy? The man has plans well in advance. As soon as he saw that...
Yeah, but he couldn't plan for that stalactite.
No.
And he didn't throw anything up there. He didn't shoot it. He didn't throw a grappling hook up there. He didn't shout really loud.
You think he'd be more forgiving for the very last Batman issue ever?
This is not the very last Batman issue ever. No, he didn't.
He's dead.
He's not dead.
They killed him at the end of this. He's got a playing card in his eye. He's covered in stalactite.
There's going to be 41 where this new guy comes in with this armor, which is obviously going to be a fucking...
Azrael?
No, it is not going to be Azrael. Aha! You think you know, but it's not.
What if it is?
I will shit on that issue.
Kids, it might be a photo podcast next time.
I will shit on that issue, and you know what?
Really?
I will have Bran beforehand.
Will you really do that?
I will, in fact.
Right.
I'll buy an extra copy.
If it's Jean-Paul.
If it's Jean-Paul Valley, I will shit on the issue. There won't be video. There would just be the results.
Thank God. I just found the 4-issue Quesada miniseries with him, Batman, Sword of Azrael.
Yeah. Why did you do that?
Because it's your favorite.
Are you saying you're... No, keep it. No, why did you have it, I mean?
I like
Quesada's
art.
Not why did you mention it?
Well, I found it back when I thought it might be a big deal. It now has the value of brand flakes, but...
and Convergence is going to kill it all off anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Dude, what do you think of Batman's final word being...
Is that what happened up in that motherfucker?
Yeah, his final word, the note to Alfred that he doesn't want to see and that he has to see is the word ha.
Obviously, the joke's on the Joker. Because he's not dead.
Wow, that's the biggest stretch ever.
Well, no, it's not. What are you talking about? That was sarcasm. I recognize that. You almost had me.
You go ahead. Dude, take a moment, kids. For a moment, I'm just going to talk about the plot of a movie I've seen recently, which is Chef, starring Jon Favreau. Well,
I took a look. I'm done. Okay? I took a look.
Anyway,
and I'm here to tell you.
Kids. You should see it.
I'm here to tell you that's Batman's joke on the Joker. Joker thinks he's dead. Everyone else thinks he's dead. He's like, ha, I'm not dead, motherfucker. Because it's Batman. Batman doesn't die.
He also doesn't joke. And he certainly doesn't joke in note form to Alfred.
Of course he does.
No, absolutely not.
If he's ever going to joke to anybody, it's going to be Alfred.
Yes, but it wouldn't be in the form of a last word note with the word ha. Like, that's a level of weird comedy that Jim Carrey would be like, I don't get it. No, Andy Kaufman would be like, no, it's not funny, man. Batman's not making that joke. It's just not happening.
He's not dead. He's not dead.
He is expired. He has shuffled off the mortal coil.
He has not joined the choir invisible.
Thank you for joining me midway through our Monty Python routine. But no, he's toast, man. It will be Nightwing Comics from now and forever. Instead of detective, it'll be like Hardy Boy Mysteries starring Nightwing.
Oh, shit. I can't handle that, man. We've already gone through the bat replacement routine.
Bat Dick is back.
Oh, fuck off with that. I told you not to talk about that anymore. Jesus. Let's talk about Astro City.
Okay. So, I've come up with, before we get into this, actually, you go ahead and do your thing. I'll talk later.
Well, no, go ahead.
No, because mine is like a deep, all-encompassing Astro City point. So, you go ahead and do your little review.
Oh, okay. So, this is number 21. And Quarrel's story finishes here as we find that Jack has gone to the Black Lab's base undersea and has made a deal with them. And the deal is they clone him and betray his ass.
Shocking.
Amazing that the bad guys would betray and crawfish on a deal. Quarrel gets her new power armor, and she fucking hates it because she feels it's this crutchy kind of thing. And she just can't deal with the idea that she's piloting it and not wearing it.
Well, it's not even wearing it. She's counting on something other than herself, and her character doesn't allow for that.
Yeah.
And of all the things that Busiek has done since he returned to Astro City, what he's done with her character, like, this arc is amazing.
This is such a good arc.
Like, I'm enjoying the story. I've really liked it, but what he's done with Quarrel and the way he's built this character up is so impressive. And the end is perfect. Where she decides to quit being a hero to motivate, because she's losing it anyway, to motivate Crackerjack to not be a gimp, is equally awesome.
Yes. I enjoyed it
so
immensely.
Well done.
I want another cigar. Where'd I put the pack?
How can I possibly answer that question?
Here it is.
So, my larger point and my problem with Astro City right now...
Uh-oh.
No, I still love it. Don't get me wrong. But have you noticed that it's not fun the way...
Oh, yeah. It is a bit heavier.
Well, here's the point
last couple
that I
of
want to make.
arcs.
Is that, well, it goes back further, but it's not being offset. I want you to think back to the Confessor storyline.
All right.
And I want you to think back to the second arc of the second series. And I will go ahead and reveal that because I doubt that you have the kind of ridiculous memory.
No, I don't.
The first arc of the second series was the one shot where the guy moves to Astro City with his kids and decides what to do or not to do. It was a single issue.
Oh, yeah.
Cute little story.
Uh-huh.
Second one was a 2-issue story about Astrid, the daughter of the first family, who goes off to have her own first adventure. So if you take Astrid and the rebirth of the Confessor, and the rebirth of the Confessor actually falls into my point.
Yeah.
When's the last time that you had anything other than a story about a hero on his way out, or retiring, or dying?
Yeah.
It's all about the end of heroics. And it has been for a long time.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And as much as I love the book, and I do, like, this is one of the books I most look forward to. Most of the time I read it while you're still talking to me. Like, when it shows up, let's be honest, I just start leafing through it because Astro City is fucking amazing. But nobody's moving up, with the exception of the Confessor, that one storyline.
Yeah.
And that basically still had the death of a superhero, and he just moved into the same role.
Oh, no, the Dark Ages.
I haven't read it.
You haven't? Oh, I'll get to that next week then.
No. You bought one of the graphics, but there's two, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, maybe I have actually, but yeah, it didn't finish, and even that's about the death of the Silver Agent, so it's still...
Well, sure, but I mean, it is about the guy taking his place, and
but that's
significant...
in the 70s. In their current...
Yeah, but...
all the stories recently have been current, and it hasn't been jumping timeline.
Right, yeah.
So I'm not knocking your point, I'm just saying, like, of this series, everything's happened. Even the positive stories, like the lady robot expert was much older and, visited by the sins of her past.
Well, you know
all
what?
The heroes that didn't make it gathering together to help the make-up lady out. Make-out lady would be a very different superhero. But it's all based on age or retiring or death.
this is actually not a bad thing to have, because every other superhero universe 100% ignores that, except for super events or one-shot pseudo-imaginary stories, or what do you want? Oh, you want another one?
Yeah, of course.
And, nothing that ever focuses on it. Old age for superheroes are aberrations in the other companies.
Well, you have to find, and I've told you about it before, the one-shot Supersonic about the retired superhero. That's an amazing read. And, of course, Busiek also won a Comic Emmy for the issue that I've constantly raved about with the retiring villain who comes back. But even younger heroes like Jack in the Box.
Yeah, he's a replacement, too.
Exactly. So, I'm not knocking that's happening, and I like that there are consequences to actions in these books, and when he does something, it doesn't revert most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure at least once he will, because you're not writing a comic book about superheroes unless somebody comes back from the dead.
Yeah.
Unless he's making a point of not doing that,
specific
which is
point.
conceivable.
Yes.
Because the
with
guy
him,
thinks
yeah.
like 8 steps ahead. I'm not knocking that at all. But you have to offset that with the upbeat younger generation as well. And he's not doing that anymore.
Curious. Now that you've pointed that pattern
You
out,
can't
you're
not see it.
completely right.
I know, it's so rare, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I hate you, but you're right many times. Especially even in this episode. Go fuck yourself. Jesus. Let's smoke your cigar and leave my ass alone.
Oh, trust me, I will. But no, I love Astro City. I really do. And I'm not trying to knock Kurt Busiek at all.
No, I don't think anybody listening will think that you're knocking him.
But I think that the book is lacking
I think it would be
a
a nice...
positive.
Noting that pattern now, I think it would be a nice turn if somebody was coming up again.
And the one you just gave me has like a 70-year-old dude on the cover, so I'm thinking that's not going to buck the trend.
No, probably not.
I mean, you've read it.
Well, I don't want to talk about it now.
But does it?
No. Well,
So, like, obviously Kurt Busiek is getting older, so there's going to be thoughts in a different way. But yeah, I feel like he needs to revisit some younger characters to build the universe more.
that's a very good point. Yep. No, that would be neat to see. I'm sure he could pull it off with his usual panache and skill.
Yeah, dude, his read, and I know that you haven't believed me on this, on Untold Spider-Man was amazing. One of my all-time favorite books.
It's not that I don't believe it, it's that I don't have enough of them to give a shit. I got one.
I think you got rid of it this time. You're like, I can't keep
Because I
one.
only have one.
I think I might have the first 16 or 17. I'll have to see if I can pull them out for you.
Because you're not finding them in the dollar box.
You're not finding them, period.
Yeah.
Which is it, because it's not like a famously positive book or anything.
Well, it was in a low period for sales and popularity.
No, that's true. Yeah, because it went further than what I have. I know that. But, yeah, what I have is what I have, so I have to deal with it.
I'll have to make a point of finding a few of those.
There's got to be a few graphics for that.
It's the ones you think must have them that never do.
It is. The graphic thing in the 90s was very weird. And what they choose to reprint is strange as well.
Yeah. I read a lot of Brevoort's Tumblr, and people are constantly asking about when they're going to reprint this, when they're going to make an omnibus of that. Well, and it's like, I don't fucking know. When somebody demands it often enough, we'll make a print run.
Well, our buddy Al has a podcast about metal, rock and roll music.
Remember the name? Give it to the people.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It's called Rock and Roll Junkies.
There you go. Go find him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, and he's funny as hell. And they do top fives, which I always enjoy. The current one is your favorite lineup of bands ever. But Rock and Roll Junkies can be found at, as my phone pulls it up, so please wait, rockandrolljunkies.com. Ooh, they're at .com.
There you go.
Nice. And they're about to be on iTunes, I believe. And they're going to start interviewing people as well. So
excellent.
Anyway, they were talking not too long ago. Shit, where was I going after all that?
Where were you going?
God damn it. What were we just talking about? Because looking this up throwing me off. No, after that.
print runs in the 90s of Untold Tales of Spider-Man, rare books, how picking
Okay,
things
here,
to
yes,
get
okay,
reprinted.
I'm back. Welcome back. Anyway, I'd say edit, but we both know you won't fucking edit that out.
Nope, not at all.
They were talking about the possibility of a metal band getting back together. I believe it was Skid Row, and they were talking about how amazing and how it would pull millions of dollars down and be huge. And then one of the two co-hosts stopped and they're like, "Do you ever wonder if we're the only people that think that?" And for a moment, Al comes back to life. He's like, "No, dude, I know that it wouldn't, but it would be amazing for me." And that people always have that reaction when it comes to comics, like the stuff that you really like. And how many times have you tried to share things? And we have fairly similar tastes.
Oh, yeah.
But if I like a book and you don't, how many times do I try to force that down your throat?
Oh,
and
yeah.
vice versa.
No, never. Once the realization is
No,
hit
but
that it...
I'll keep bringing it up. Like, how many times have you been like, I should read Doctor Strange, or I should read Howard the Duck, just to shut him the fuck up. And sometimes revisiting something works out. Like Major Bummer, the first time you're like, and it grew on you. Well, mostly Doug Monkey grew on you, but...
There are points where you're just not ready for a property.
That's true. But we all have a tendency to look at things with blinders when we really like them. And comic fans are some of the most egregiously loyal and insane fans. Like, every time you try and convince me that Power Girl is pertinent...
No, I've never said that. I said fun.
Fine. Every time you try and convince me that it's fun.
I have never tried to convince anyone that it has something to say and it's important. It's silly fun. See, now you got me on a roll about Power Girl.
That's what I do. Did we do Power Girl, Harley Quinn?
Yes.
Who did it? You or me? I don't remember.
You convinced me into it.
Ah, nice.
Like usual. Dickhead.
I gotta stop doing that, because then like, if it is good, I'm like, God damn. Well, Velvet is a perfect example.
Yes.
Like, I bought like 3 books just because of that. Like, oh, I better just get this one. Are you gonna do? You need to do the Matt Wagner Spirit though, because his take on the Shadow Year One was amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed the living fuck out of that.
Yeah, you gotta look for the graphic on that.
And I just reread 2 issues of Christine Spar Grendel. And it turns out she was only it for 12 issues. So it's not going to be difficult. Well, it might be expensive, but it won't be difficult to find 12 issues of that.
Yeah, well, they're the first 12.
Yeah.
Grendel 1 is going to be a bitch any way you look at it.
Well, it's not really Grendel 1, is it?
Well, there's the graphic, but... You have the Comico one, right? For the graphic?
Yeah,
or is that Dan?
yeah.
I do not have that. That pisses me off.
You'd never see that any fucking place, dude.
Because you'd be insane to get rid of it. It's a great read.
Yes.
I have a crappy reprint of it, but...
Even though it's almost exclusively text.
Yes, no.
But it's good text, and it matches up what's on the... No, there's no dialogue. There's no word balloons. There's no thought balloons. There's no inner dialogue. It's just Christine Spar telling the story of her crazy mother, Stacy Palumbo, who was taken in by Hunter Rose. And I still have no idea why I enjoy that name so much.
Because it works. I love Grendel beginning to end. I know the whole... Once vampires started getting involved in a big way, and you pulled out. Despite Tim Sale being all over that shit.
Well, that future stuff just confused the shit out of me, and I don't see how... I missed something important where I don't know why Hunter Rose had anything to do with some roided out psychopath 3,000 years from now. I really don't. I don't know how they're connected. I don't know why they matter.
The cult of Grendel becomes a different thing. It's a great book. I love Grendel. I just saw mine the other day. But yeah, finding the early ones is going to be a mother. Anyway, but well worth it.
You know, I don't think I'm going to bother hunting them. I think I will just go find them.
Oh, you think you're just going to try and...
I'll go to like Midtown, or I'll go to some web retailer where, okay, they've got 2, 3, and 6. I'll get those now. I'll go over to Westfield. They've got 8, 9, and 10. I'll get those now.
In the last year, you've really embraced comic collecting as a retail business, more so than ever before. In case in point, your most recent eBay purchase, which we haven't talked about.
Oh, yes. You are so mad about that. I toyed with the idea of being generous and charitable to you, and giving you the ones you missed, and then going.
I knew
and
you'd
looking for
think
my
about
own.
that. In all honesty, I knew you would. It'll come down to when you read it if you like it or not.
Yeah.
If you're like, this is okay, then you will do it. If you're like, this is pretty good, you're going to keep them all just to drive me insane.
Little bit.
I know you too well. But go ahead, tell them what you bought.
I got on I came to a realization that I owned exactly one Indiana Jones comic.
That I gave you.
That you gave me. And it was the second to last one.
And it was not good.
And it was not good. And I realized, wait a minute. I'm a fucking indie fan. I'm not a rabid 30s adventure guy like fucking Rev here.
It's a hard life.
But I love indie too. So why don't I own any of these motherfuckers? And I went to eBay and I lost a lot of 1 through 34 and all the
miniseries.
All the minis for somebody, beat me. They wanted like $75 for it. I ain't paying $75 fucking bucks for this shit.
Nope.
No. Not unless I can sell them for fucking $85. Forget it. But a couple days later, somebody else came back with a different lot for only $35.
Yep.
And I snapped it up right then.
That's that's less than $1 an issue.
Yeah.
If you don't include shipping, because that always throws it off.
Right.
But yeah, because if you got the first 2 miniseries. There is the third one, but
yeah,
it's terrible.
From a completist standpoint, you should have it, but
you've never been that dude, except for Batman.
Not that complete. So that was a good find. It's going to take me forever to get to it, though. Because,
well, you're still working through Doctor Strange.
Well, I still have the shit from Emerald I haven't finished reading yet.
True. Now you got free comic book day.
All of the... Dude, I've got a jam-packed short box waiting to be read. I mean jam.
That doesn't even include
I filled it up, and the indies are on top of it.
Plus, you still have that box of older weird shit that you need to visit at some point.
Yeah, eventually.
It's a low priority, but the whole point of that box is like, I'm going to go back, see if they're worth getting into the pile, or if they have to leave. You got Brave and the Bold in there, you got Power Man, you got those Eternals that you found.
Well, I think this has been a pretty enjoyable evening, and I think that at an hour and 6 we can probably call it even, huh? Unless you got anything else you want to mention.
Just one thing.
What's that?
Bless you, fuckers.
Woohoo! And away.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. Find us on Facebook, Stitcher, Twitter under @TheMeanerGeek. Subscribe to us through RSS.
Or we can be located at our own site, www.themeangeek.com. And most importantly of all, you can find us as a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network.
Email us directly at themeanergeek@gmail.com.
Can I drink now?
You may.